turn that song to a prayer. Say, chant in the spirit. You are glorifying his name. Hallelujah. Tonight I'm teaching on the seeing eyes. I'm showing you how to access the gift of sight. The seeing eyes. Matthew 13:13, please. I want to show you a mystery in the spirit tonight, and we'll pray. How to access the gift of sight. Therefore, speak I to them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And very quickly, I want to show you by the Spirit how men can tap into the gift of sight and redirect their lives. The absence of the gift of sight will keep you stunted, will keep you limited. You may never able to activate destiny and to be a blessing. Many believers are blind. In as much as they are saved, they do not know how to tap into the intelligence of the Spirit. And so there is nothing commendable about their Christian experience. They just go to church, they study the Bible blindly, they pray blindly, and there is no beauty and glory that emanates with time from their lives. There are many sincere believers who have found themselves touring parts of destiny that were not earmarked. It is not part of their prophetic blueprint. They sincerely began to follow blindly, and from the lens of prophecy and God's assignment for them, many of them would soon realize that they've just been wasting their time doing things that are not part of their prophetic blueprint, taking journeys and long paths in life and destiny that they would later find out was not earmarked for them. For as long as John was in the will of God, he had access to all that God intended for him to do. No one could kill him. People could persecute him, but he became invincible. He was immune because he was staying in the will of God. The moment John the Baptist veered off the will of God and he began to do and practice things that were not in his prophetic blueprint, he became a prey to the enemy and he died cheaply. The assignment of John was to be the forerunner of Jesus. And for as long as he understood that assignment and stood upon his watch, playing that role effectively, the same people who would later kill him were there, and yet they had no power over him because he was immune by the power of his vision. But the moment he announced Jesus and he did not know what else to do with his life, he began to delve into areas, perhaps sincerely so, that was not earmarked for his destiny. How could a man announce Jesus and die the way John died? How could a man ordain Jesus to ministry and die the way that he died? That is not how God rewards those who walk with him. But that is what happens to a man when you become blinded. Just because you saw yesterday does not mean you are seeing now. You must receive the miracle of sight for the now. There are people who begin with God accurately receiving the blueprint for their destinies, but eventually they allow blindness to plague them, and with that blindness will come confusion. This is true for those in ministry, this is true for those in business, this is true for family people. And so they start well, excelling in life and destiny, and eventually you will find them veering off paths that were not in their prophetic blueprint. Sincerity is not enough to actualize destiny. You must have the gift of sight. There are people today who once were in God's prophetic program. They once were in God's prophetic program. Once upon a time, they were at the cutting edge of God's program, but they lacked the ability to see what God is doing now. And while they were relevant in one season, when seasons changed, they did not have the gift of sight, and they continued doing what God was doing, not knowing that God has switched. You know that almost everyone here, by the time I'm done showing you what I'm showing you, you will know that the Spirit of God has been opening the blueprint of your destiny once and again. For some of you, because you did not have the gift of sight, you're not even aware that it is God showing you. And I have taught you that there is timing to destiny. Most people copy what others are doing. They do not have the gift of sight to know what God is doing. So when they find out that something is working, everybody just says, this is how ministry is being done. Let's do it that way. This is how business is being done. And then after 10 years, the person leading you will say, I'm sorry, I really did not see well. And you find out that you may have wasted your time. The opening of the eyes does not necessarily mean sight. I repeat again, you can be looking and yet not see. Your eyes are open, but you do not have sight. The request of blind Bartimaeus was not that his eyes should open. He said that I may receive my sight. The first channel that is activated when you receive the gift of sight are your dreams and visions. Write it down, please. Your dreams and visions are the first channels that show whether or not you have received the gift of sight. When God gives a man the seeing eye, it tells immediately in your dreams and visions. Joel chapter 2 and verse 28. Joel 2:28. And it shall come to pass afterwards that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. It says, and your sons and daughters shall prophesy. Help me read the rest. Your old men shall dream dreams. Your young men shall see visions. If dreams and visions were not powerful, Satan would not be interested in your sleep. That when men go to bed, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of transactions happen in the spirit. Dreams and visions. Is God helping someone? Men have woken up out of dreams and visions into enviable destinies. An example of such a man was Solomon. Solomon went to bed, ladies and gentlemen, and by the advantage of dreams and visions, God came to him and a destiny-altering transaction happened. Solomon, what should I give you whilst you are asleep? Ladies and gentlemen, hear me. If you miss the opportunity of dreams and visions being used as a prophetic tool, you will miss out a lot in destiny.